Good afternoon, and thanks for coming to our talk on LGBTQ community building within Informs. I'm Alison Murphy, a third-year PhD student.
And I'm Dwaipayan, a PhD candidate, and we are from the Supply Chain and Operations Department at the Carlson School of Management, University of Minnesota. And as DEI ambassadors, we are focused towards creating a more inclusive environment for the LGBTQ community within Informs. In line with this overall objective, what we are focusing on is how to improve the engagement and the awareness levels of the idiosyncratic challenges and the support needs of the LGBTQ community within Informs. To that end, we are currently working on 3 projects. Our first project focuses on identifying online and offline resources that Informs has made available for the LGBTQ community. In the second project, we are conducting a survey to understand the demographic characteristics of the LGBTQ community in Informs. And we are also doing a benchmarking study for replicating best practices that can help us in creating a more inclusive society for the LGBTQ community. Now we will discuss each project and provide you with a brief overview about our progress in the project. So in the first project, what we are looking at is how has Informs helped to champion the cause for LGBTQ equality by making available online and offline resources. To that end, we see that Informs has a LGBTQ working group that helped to distribute rainbow stickers at the Informs 2019 conference, and this was done at the Career Center. In terms of online resources, there are blog posts, there are interviews available on the diversity community webpage of Informs that focused on LGBTQ issues, on the challenges that LGBTQ academics face, and there were a couple of articles around the Pride Week, which we celebrate every June. In addition, Management Science came up with a special issue that focused on highlighting articles that looked at diversity, equity, and inclusion issues in our society. Much of these articles focused on women issues and issues surrounding racial minorities, and of the 23 odd articles, around 4 focused on LGBTQ issues, highlighting the need for academic scholarships to do more research that lies at the intersection of LGBTQ issues, organizational performance, and managerial decision-making. Now, Alison will tell us more about our second and third projects.
Thanks, Dwai. So our second project is a survey of the Informs community to better understand the LGBTQ demographics and the support needs of this community and allies. This survey will be completely anonymous, which will help us get a lot more information than would typically be shared during Informs registration and other manners that Informs would typically be aware of demographics. The survey will also let us understand what resources Informs members are already aware of and what other resources and practices could be helpful in the future. So keep your eye out for the survey if it hasn't already launched already. We expect it in November of this year. And we hope that it will help us better understand the membership and what sort of resources will be helpful in the future. Building on that idea, the third project is a benchmarking study to understand what other academic communities are doing to support the LGBTQ community. People hear a lot about out in STEM and other areas, and it doesn't seem to be an area that has quite as much traction within the management community. So we want to better understand resources that people have found helpful and what we could take forward and move within the Informs community. Some of the ideas that we found so far are more on informal networking and informal academic sharing, things like virtual happy hours, webinar series, and mentoring programs. So we hope out of all 3 of these projects that we'll be better able to understand the LGBTQ community within Informs and identify some resources and practices that we can work on going forwards in the future. Thank you.